Hello there, and welcome back to Vintage Story. I hope you're having a wonderful day. We are just about done building the structure there for our chicken coop, and so I want to show you something that we haven't yet covered in this season, and that is making glass. So you do it in a bloomery. As you can see, we do have glass completed in these two. And what you need to do is for every 4 chunks of quartz, you'll get 2 bits of glass. So we can fill up a total of 24 quartz chunks into the bloomery. And naturally, I forgot my torch. Light up the bloomery, same way you would making raw iron bloom or meteoric iron, and give it time and it will turn into glass. So if we break these 2 open, there we go, we got glass. It's still hot, so if we punch a hole through our roof, if we want to manipulate it, we need to make sure we're using tongs, same as if we're picking up metal. But now we can go and put a glass roof on our chicken coop. Okay, I just make sure I got all the fire bricks. And then we can see about moving our chickens into the coop. I do need to make a bit more fencing because I want the fence to be 3 high for now, and it'll be higher in the future. But we do want glass in here. The reason for that is, well, the chickens are going to be spending a lot of time in our coop. And if they are out of sunlight for too long, boy, that elk is noisy, they can despawn, and we don't want that. So there's our coop. We're going to make some egg boxes, or some more egg boxes. We've got 2 there. Nope. Trying to make a break for it. So we'll put some more egg boxes in here. We'll put probably 2 of the small troughs in so I can feed all the chickens at once. And we can start our proper egg production. And then we'll be building a second coop, as I said. I'm not sure if this is going to be the egg coop or the coop specifically for hatching chickens. I mean, we do have a rooster, so we might do this for, breeding up generations. I got a second ewe. Let's see. They are both pregnant. Good. We did have to update all the mods. The mod developer for the wool mod, Tells, did actually say that I wasn't using the latest version. As you can see, well, let's go back inside. Where it says they're too wild to be shorn, it shows it's in red now. It wasn't previously, so that way I know. Well, he knew that I hadn't updated. So here's your reminder to make sure you go and update your mods. I did go through and pretty much updated every single mod I'm using, which I probably should do more often, but yeah, all mods are updated. And it's actually good because I did have a loading error from the cages mod because the version I was using wasn't fully updated to 1.20. Now it is, so no more loading errors. Anyway, I need to start working on the barn a bit more. Guess I'm gonna go chop down some more large trees, and we can see about making a nice roof. And again, we're gonna need glass on the roof so that the animals that are inside don't despawn because they don't have light or sunlight. Oh, it looks like one of the updates to the wool mod makes it so that wolves now drop fleece. So if you do have to hunt a lot of wolves, or if you are hunting a lot of wolves, you can get fleece that way. Actually, I just saw a wolf over here, and while I am freezing at the moment, if we can take him out, I can show you what I'm talking about. Not my best hunting trip. But there we go. We got black, brown, and gray fleece. I imagine that means other animals will also give fleece. Rabbits, possibly one piece of fleece. Of course, sheep and goats do. Bears would probably give some also. So yeah, looks like anything you hunt or just about, can give you some fleece to help you make up the difference while you're waiting for your generations of goats, not goats, well, goats too, but sheep to grow up so you can start shearing them. So I had to jump into my creative world for a moment, and I'm looking at the different larch roofs here, because we're going to probably end up using the larch as our roof block. So right now, we can craft these in vanilla, right? The slanted larch roofing, it's essentially a stair on an angle, right? So it's always going to be a 45-degree slant. I don't want that for our barn, at least not for the whole thing. For part of the barn, we're going to want it to be more of that sort of slant for the top part. So that's about, I'd say about 22 degree. And then for the bottom part, we need it to be more like that. So that we can't recreate that currently without the Better Ruins mod. The Better Ruins mod allows us to make larch roofing beams. We need the roofing master's blueprint to do this. But if we get that, then what we can do is we can do that and create the much more steep angled roof that I want. So I'm gonna have to go start exploring and looking for Better Ruins so I can find the roofer's blueprint. They are rare, so we're not likely to find them anytime soon. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into my survival world and start laying out the larch roofing like this, the framework. And then once we actually get the roofing blueprint, we can make the shingles and do it on top. There's also this roofing shingle, but it's a lot thinner, right? It's about a quarter of a block, whereas this one is about half a block. So, also, I like that this maintains the same texture as that, so it would not clash. And then we could always take this and put the trim on the bottom, if I can angle it properly, but you get the idea, so that you don't have this crumpled up texture on the bottom. We can hide it. But yeah, so that's the present idea. And so yeah, we'll do that for the sides coming down, and then something like that for the top. And where you have this little overlap like that, we can just take our wrench and not a wrench, our chisel, and just remove the bit so that it doesn't clip through. And then that would be the general idea. Obviously not exactly like that, but yeah. That's what I'm looking to do. All right, back to survival. Okay, I've got the roof on the barn. So I did do I've got slabs going up. Let's see, right now, yeah, so I've got slabs going up. So it's 2 over for every 1 full block up. I think that's going to be a good enough angle. And going down, I've got what I was showing before in the creative world, where it's 2 down for 1 over. I will be swapping out the debarked logs here with the walnut planks, especially when we paint them red. I think this is a good enough shape. Let's see. Yeah, and of course, the walls are going to be red when we get the dye. And when I can make the shingles, we're going to come down. And the shingles are going to come down over these walnut planks here too. So it's going to look like a white roof from a distance, even though up close, you've got the color mismatch. It's it's not going to be noticeable. And if I absolutely have to, I can take some larch planks and chisel this down so that there's literally one voxel, the outside voxel, that is the red, and the rest of this will be larch. If I have to. I don't think it's going to be necessary. And then I've got some skylights put in. This is just to make sure that there is light in every stall coming from the sun, so we don't have to worry about our animals despawning. Now, I haven't tested it, but it should not be an issue that if I do the shingles coming down over this, if I do these roofing beam shingles, it should not prevent light from getting through. I mean, visually, it might prevent light getting through. It might be dark in the inside, but it should still count as getting sunlight because it's not a full block. At least that's the hope. We will find out. If not, then we just make a slight alterations where we have the shingle come down to like there, and then do a new shingle from there. So we'll have the visible glass, and I can always decorate it a little bit because we can chisel these, which will make them near invisible, and then take some larch planks and give them a wood border and make it look like it's actually built in and matches the shingles. But for now, this is our barn for the most part. The exterior is done. Okay, the shape is done. It still has a lot of work to go before it is done. And then I was looking at some designs, and I like the idea of having some come out like this and having sort of a roofed area here with support beams coming down and make it look nice, and then have, I mean, I'm not going to store anything out here really. Well, I'm not going to store animals. I can always have like an exterior item storage that looks like it's part of the barn. Maybe do a little decorate, make it look like there's some hay bales out here, or, you know, whatever. May make a fake carriage and have it underneath that, you know? And then this will get a proper door. In the future, I just need to make some more of the nails and strips so I can make maybe a larch door, because the larch looks nice. Larch gate. Was thinking of actually doing the 3x1 door, and just have two of them, one here, one there. That should do fine. But yeah, it's nice and lit up in here. I gotta come through and clean out all the snow. But once I do that, I can take down the wattle fencing here. Yes, you're very noisy. And we don't have to worry about our animals getting out. Because right now, like I said, with the snow, you can actually jump over the fences. And I believe the animals can too. So the wattle stays up until the snow is cleared out. There we go. Now we've got our barn and our coop is done. Structurally. Still gotta finish the fencing. I don't know if I want to paint the chicken coop. I kind of like the birch here. It's a light color without being like too over the top, too bright. I think it looks fine. Oh, I mentioned I was updating mods. I was looking at a couple other ones to add. I didn't end up adding any of them, but there's a fox taming mod, which looks like it might have an issue right now, which is why I didn't add it. But there's also a hare taming mod. I don't know where the hare went to. So you can, if you like rabbits, you want a pet rabbit, you can actually get a mod that allows you to tame a pet rabbit and have a pet rabbit in your house. So if you're into that, you know, now you know. I think it will look really good once the shingles are in and when the walls are painted red. I think it'll really, really stand out well by then. And like I said, we'll see how the shingles look on the roof. I might need to drop the angle. Instead of being what it currently is 2x1. Maybe make it a 3x1 or even a 4x1. That would shrink the size of the roof significantly, but it might look better. Although this does look good as it is, so it's not like I'm displeased with how it looks. Well, I took a quick detour to our trader friend to see if he had linen for us, and he did not, unfortunately. But he did have a blanket for our elk. So, yeah, we bought that for him. It was only like 2 gear, so it was pretty cheap. And I don't know if the blanket will help keep us warm while we're riding him, because I just took the elk on a bit of a jaunt around from our barn all the way up around here and back down looking for ruins. There were none, at least none visible. There could have been ruins underground. And I got cold. So I don't know if this saddle will help keep me warm or just keep the elk warm, but it's worth getting. Make him look nice. I do want to get the azure one. There is a really nice blanket I saw. The azure embroidered saddle blanket. And we can actually craft this ourselves with blue cloth and flax twine. Forlorn Hope saddle looks nice, but that's sold by luxury traders only. We got the merchant one. Like I said, it'll do fine for now. Give him something to wear. And I also need to see about making up a medallion. So if we make a medallion, which, here, let's hop back into this. So there are a bunch of different medallions here. Most of them are, well, okay, this one we can craft with tin, bronze, nails and strips, and leather. But most of them are sold by traders. I don't think they're all that expensive. And so we can go around looking for different medallions, see which one we like best. If we have a medallion, we can then make a bone flute, which we can use to summon the elk to us if the elk is close by and not obstructed, like in our barn here, fenced in. But now we have the blanket. Where does the blanket attach to? Right there? No. Right, control use. There we go. Now the elk's got a blanket on it. Again, I don't know if that's just mostly aesthetic or if it'll actually help keep us a little warmer, but now we've got a nice blanket for our elk. Hey guys, we got our first lamb. And I made some... I should not have left that door open. I made some actual lanterns in here, so it's actually lit. But yes, we have our first lamb. So, of course, it is a baby. We can't really do anything with it. It's our first Gen 1. Let's get rid of that snow. And if we can find this one. So, several days before it's ready to mate again. It's good weight. Lactating for 19 days. Can't be milked, but will become aggressive. Because it is wild. And now it's too agitated. Yep. We did not get milk this time. It's going to be rare for us to get milk from a Gen 1. It can happen. Obviously, the further along in generations you get, the less likely they are to get aggressive after milking. I think I was having pretty good luck by the time I got to my 3rd generation last time. So, it shouldn't be that bad. It just means that we're probably not going to get much milk from her or from her, but future generations we will. And that's good because then we can start making cheese and milk and fulfilling our dairy needs, since we have absolutely nothing right now for our dairy needs. There we go. So now that I got rid of all the snow, they should be fine. I should get rid of the snow here, so no animals are going to get in here. So one wide door right now. Bears, wolves, they can't get through one wide. Rabbits could, and foxes, but don't think I need to worry about foxes bothering my sheep. Oh, I can try milking her again. Nope. Oh well. At least I'll show you. At least I can show you that we can attempt to get milk, and that we've got our 1st generation lamb. I'm gonna make more lanterns. I'm gonna probably have one here, then move this one over here, and then over there. But what we can also do is we grab this. If we go to his front of the elk, we can attach a lantern to the elk's neck, and so it will light up as we ride. So that's pretty cool. Control click to pull it back off. I just made up some more water. Nails and strips, tin bronze one, so we can actually make the medallion. I was gonna say talisman. Getting my things mixed up. For our elk. And then I've got a bit of extra leather so I can make... Let's go with this one. And then I got a bit of extra leather. I can make the last of the backpacks, so we can swap out that. And now we have, well, as much inventory as we're going to get until we make ourselves some hardened leather. There we go. Oh, that's how you see its health. Nice. Okay. I accidentally punched it earlier, so I wasn't sure how I could see how much health he has. Yes, you're screaming in my face. Just like my sister's dog when he barks in my face. Okay, can you pick your head up? I'm trying to put the talisman back on. There we go. So yeah, okay, it shows you his health, it shows you that it's owned by me. So I guess you can ride any elk, but only the owner can ride an owned elk. Either way. So now we've got our medallion on him. We can make a bone flute, and we can call him to us using the bone flute. But, as I was saying, I made up some nails and strips. Got a bit more larch here. Let's make up the doors quickly. That's the solid door. I want the 3 tall door. Because then we can get rid of this here. And put that down there and that down there. There we go. We've got our barn door. When I actually paint this, I am going to be putting some of these supports around it as trim. Make it look a bit nicer. It should go with the red. We will have one of those hayloft doors, and I'll see about actually using the chisel to make a hayloft. And then we can put a area up here, not too big, but you know, big enough that we can have extra storage up there, sort of like what we did last time. And yeah, I like the barn. You know, I really do like the larch wood. It kind of it clashes with the walnut, but once the walnut is painted red, I think it'll look much better. And in case you noticed, we've got different textures here. Well, for that, for these few, I used planks. And after using 4 planks, I realized, wait a minute, we're literally using half a block, so I could use a slab. So I swapped over to using slabs, but the orientation is wrong. But then again, it's going to be covered by the shingles, so you're not going to see it anyway when we actually get to that point. So it looks a little off for now, but it's really not going to matter eventually. And yeah, let's just swap out the stripped oak for the walnut, because the walnut looks better on the corners and it's going to, you know, match better. Oh, and chicken coop is done. And I've got 8 nest boxes in here and 2 troughs. So I can go fill up the troughs. And these guys will mosey their way into... Boy, I cannot find the door because they look so similar. The chickens will mosey their way into the coop and eat. I just had an idea. I have glass still. Why don't we put a little glass window into the chicken coop so I can see into the coop from the outside? If you did not know, when you chisel glass, it becomes fully transparent. So if I put this down here, I'm going to want to chisel this down this side. But there you go. It's like invisible. So what I can do now is break... That's a stair. So I want to break this one. And then I can put this like that. And I can put a stair over here. And that way I can look in and see how the chickens are doing. If I need to refill their food and whatnot. Yeah, I think that's going to be nice. I can do that. And that's the stair I want. There we go. Nice. Oh, I like that idea. That was a good idea. I'm glad I thought of it. Let's grab some flax grain and toss it in so the chickens can start laying eggs. There we go. And so that the chickens should work their way over there on their own. I do have to avoid coming over here for a while because obviously we spooked the chickens, and I don't remember if it's generation 5 or later, but eventually the chickens will not get spooked by us being over here. But once they are no longer spooked by us, you know, we can go in there with no problem. But until then, if we go over here when they're nesting or trying to eat, see, you see them walking into the coop. We'll scare them if we come too close, and you know, defeats the purpose of them feeding and laying eggs. So we're gonna leave them alone for now. Get some eggs going. Get some chicks going. And hopefully get a few different generations. I didn't finish working on the barn. And I just need to remove these last stripped logs over here, and the barn will be done for now. I have to go cave diving. We need to find a lot of cinnabar. And, you know, I might come out also with the larch a bit on this end to do some... You know, I keep forgetting what they're called. There is an actual word for it when the roof overhangs the side of the building a little bit. I want to say it starts with a K. Like a 4 or 5 letter word starts with a K. It kind of reminds me of like kit or kite or something like that, but those are both 3-letter words. Anyway, there is an actual word for it. I just can never remember what it's called. But I'm going to be making those, I think, depending on how it looks when we're ready. And it might not be even all that long. Actually, the actual shingled roofs can be shortened. If we go up here, so this is the full shingled roof. If we put it down here, we get just the bottom. Put it up here, we get that, which is this here. If we put it on the side, we get that. It's like half of a shingled roof. So you can use that for the sidings if your roof is if it's using the proper slant. Ours is a custom slant, so it's not going to look right, but that's an option for you if you want. And you know, just to be perfectly clear what I am planning, I want to have it like that. Obviously, touching the roof by hanging over like that. That's I think that'll just help give it a little more texture, a little more 3D shape, and not be a box. That's my problem. My builds are often boxy because I'm still not 100% on my creativity. I mean, I rounded the corners of this so that's not as boxy, but you still, you know, you clearly see where I'm coming from. So I don't know if it's anecdotal, but the blanket seemed to have helped. I went on a day-long and night-long elk ride all the way down to... Where did I stop at? Somewhere around here, around the commodity trader, because he's got some flax, and I didn't have gears with me to buy them. But I went all the way down and then came back up this way. And yeah, it was cold overnight. And by the time I got back, I was freezing, but I had been out for nearly 24 hours at that point, and I only just started freezing, whereas last time I went an elk ride without the blanket, I made it to about here before I was freezing and had to come back. So, singular data point, but it looks like the blanket does help. But I think I'm going to call it an end here for today. Didn't have as much time today as I had hoped. Between the Easter holiday yesterday, which, by the way, happy Easter. 2 days late for you all, but there it is. And I'm going to see my niece again tomorrow. So, yeah, they haven't had a lot of time. But I hope you don't mind. We did get a bit done. I like how the barn is shaping up. Once we get the colors done and the shingles, I think it would really finish pulling it together. But until then, thank you for joining me today. Thank you to my channel members for your support. I hope you all have a wonderful day, had a wonderful Easter, and I'll see you next time. Later.